Always tracking, always alerting. Here's your Storm Track 15 weather.
And we continue to track Francine out there, a hurricane with winds of 90 miles an hour, pressure at 976 and moving northeast at 12 miles an hour. It has picked up some forward speed, and that's indicating the jet stream coming in, pulling this storm a little bit faster closer to the Louisiana coastline. Now that still likely won't keep this from reaching us until the evening hours, so we have a long way to go. But you can see there a Category 1 hurricane just off the Louisiana coastline, and indications are this is really beginning to strengthen a little bit this morning. Hurricane hunters are in Francine right now, flying about, and they're finding those lower pressures. One other way, we don't even need the hurricane hunters really to tell us that this is starting to strengthen. You see these purple colors indicating those taller, colder, stronger storms near the center of circulation. They're becoming more expansive. The more purple you see on this map, the stronger this storm is getting. Now, there's been a couple of things that happened through the overnight hours and just a few hours ago. Overnight, formed into a hurricane, strengthened to a high-end Category 1, but then around 4 o'clock this morning, it started ingesting some drier air, and that's separated the center of the storm, which you can see here, from this blob that is now moving into southeastern Louisiana. And what that is the storm took in the drier air and it's pushing it out. That kind of cut off this whole section, and that's going to continue to drift off to the north and east. The center is now trying to build back up, and it's built a strong core. So there's been a little wind shear too. That wind shear not having as much of an impact on this system because of that strong core that it has. Now, we've seen a lot of wobbles with it the past couple of hours and even the past few days. And when you're out in the Atlantic, wobbles don't matter. But when you're this close to land, only a few hundred miles offshore, every little deviation is important, because if you get one little wobble, that's nothing, because it might come back to the path and, everything stays on course. But if you start seeing that wobble turn into a trend, then you can say, uh-oh, this isn't going where the Hurricane Center or the models or whatever forecasting it to go. It's going in a completely different direction. And so the latest update from Recon shows that there has been more of an easterly bend recently with this storm. So we'll watch that. At the next update, 10 a.m., does that eastward trend continue, or does it come back in line with the Hurricane Center? If it comes back in line with the Hurricane Center, we're looking at a landfall somewhere around St. Mary Parish between Franklin and Morgan City. If it does tend to go more to the east, now we're looking at a landfall site between Morgan City and Cocodrie, Dulac, maybe as far east as Grand Isle. That would be on the extreme case. I don't think it gets that far east. But somewhere here into Terrebonne Parish would be more likely. So that is a key thing that we'll watch at the 10 o'clock update. But the Hurricane Center does have this going towards the north and east and strengthening to a Category 2 by 1 p.m. You can see sitting right offshore. We're expecting that Category 2 intensity. It does come on shore here somewhere in St. Mary or Terrebonne Parish, and then key is, does it bend back to the north, or does it carry on more to the east? There are some models that show this coming to New Orleans and then carrying on eastward into Mississippi. I discount that a little bit just because we are seeing that jet stream kind of bending back here. But, this gets far enough east, it doesn't matter if it bends over the city of New Orleans. We're not going to see many impacts here. Although rain is one of those impacts, this model is one of those that shows that eastward track. So let's time this out. Next few hours, that rain shield sets up shop here, and we're going to get some of those outer bands working their way on up towards the Lafayette area. Midday, this will be the key time frame. We're now past that 10 a.m. advisory. Where is that center? This model takes the system and heads it off towards Terrebonne Parish. Notice the rain stops for us here in Acadiana. The strongest of those storms down towards Morgan City, Terrebonne Parish, New Orleans, river parishes. That's where, according to this model, the worst of it goes. And there you can see the center coming up towards Lafourche Parish. This model eventually does continue to take it off towards the east into Mississippi. Now, like I said, I think that's a little bit on the extreme end. I do think this would bend to the north at some point in time. But there's other models, the global models, that are pretty centered here on Morgan City. So we have a battle. It's not that much of a difference. Morgan City towards Cocodrie is only about 30 to 40 miles here, where we see a separation of potential landfall sites. Grand scheme of things, not a big difference. Impact-wise for us here in Acadiana, big difference. We are going to see a lot of rainfall here, that eye coming into view of radar. You can almost kind of trace out the upper level jet stream just by how the rain is moving towards the Louisiana coastline here, going in that northeasterly flow. But then you can see everything start to lift northward here, and that's why I think at some point this is going to have to turn to the north. But for now, it is going to carry on that northeasterly trajectory. It's set up right now, basically the border of St. Mary and Terrebonne Parish. We'll see how that all plays out. But on radar, clearly you can see that circulation. There is the eye back here. There's been some wobbles, but does this continue on? Like I said, right now, it's kind of on that track for the parish line there, maybe a little south of Morgan City over towards Amelia. We'll have to see as we go in. There's also a lot of lightning building in with this storm too. We can also see that there's steady rains falling across Acadiana, south of I-10 primarily, heaviest right along the 90 corridor between Morgan City and Franklin up to New Iberia, and then cutting across on LA 14 points southward. That is where you see that steady outer rain band building on in. Lafayette, some light to moderate rain right now. Same for you in Cankton and Crawley, Jennings, Rain, Dussault. Just a few showers here into St. Landry and Evangeline parishes. Nothing too concerning there. From our Queen City of the Teche camera in New Iberia, you can see how wet the roads are. Gray skies out there right now. Check of those winds. Everything out of the east currently around 10 miles an hour. Some gusts even higher than that. And I just want to show you quickly, I have updated that the highest wind gusts, those bursts of winds, now down to the south where we would see that 100 mile per hour wind gust around 60 here for Lafayette. But we'll keep you updated going forward.